hip hop soul in the crowd. Yeah.
All right, everybody, welcome back in. Robin Stu Show here, special episode. Not a special episode that I care to do. Coming up this week, we got the college football picks, the NFL picks. That's all coming up. But I'll tell you, I'm blessed. This show's blessed to have a great friend in Justin Spiro who joins us tonight. Spiro, I have a new show. Please go out and check it out. I email it to coworkers. They love it. Even if you're not a Detroit person and you're not into Detroit sports, there's enough on there that is just phenomenal. Justin joining us tonight. I know you're packing up Peter Millar sweater vests and polos and got the whole deal. Amazing design. But thank you for spending a few minutes to come in and chat, brother.
No problem. Happy to do it. Wish it could be under better circumstances than we're at, but that's part of the deal with having a role in media. When it sucks, you got to be here too. And so that's what we're going to do. So let's get after it. I'm ready. As ready as I'll ever be, I guess, for this topic. It continues to be a whirlwind.
Yeah. And I know this is going to be something for folks that are looking for a more in-depth thing. I'm sure you will be covering it as you normally do, the end of season dissection with Justin Thind and Graham Couch and whoever Tony Paul. Where's Tony? I'm praying for Tony Paul. But whenever Tony comes on, I'm sure you're gonna adjudicate it there. But I'll start. You did a great Spaces. I don't know if people can still listen to it.
Yeah, it's still up there. Yep.
Yeah, it was phenomenal. I listened to it Sunday morning. You broke this immediately at 2:30 in the morning. God bless you. God bless your wife for allowing that.
No, she was asleep actually. Yeah, I got out of bed to do it. So yeah, we were both kind of like nodding off a little bit and phones blowing up. So yeah, she was happy to sleep through it while I was down here trying to sort through this thing. It was quite wild.
But as a parent, the next day it hurts. It hurts a lot.
Yeah, she felt it then because I was like walking around, with one half of an eye open. So yeah, she felt it after.
I'll let you open it up, man. I mean, not much to say. Everybody knows what we're talking about. I'll let you start off with the floor here.
I mean, the biggest thing is to me that I keep coming back to is that it feels like a betrayal. This was a guy that the fan base rallied behind in a way not even D'Antonio saw at any point. I mean, even at the very, very peak, he was beloved, but he didn't have this, gang out in the streets for him, fighting his battles for him. And the Michigan State fan base was so overly passionate, and I was certainly among them, in advocating for this guy, defending this guy when things got bad. They really had his back and bought into the vision and believed in him. And I think he owed us better. He owed the program better, certainly owed the kids better and the members of his staff. And you look at the collateral damage with something like this, and someone like I'm friendly with Scotty Hazelton's wife, and they got, I think, 4 or 5 young kids. It's at least 4 young kids, and they're probably gonna have to move now. I mean, there's a chance the new coach retains Scotty next year. I'm a big Scotty Hazelton guy. We talked about that last time I was with you. But, there's a good chance a lot of these assistants are going to be packing up and moving. And you sign up for that in this industry for performance, but not for something like this. And they had an opportunity to improve this year and have a good launch pad to 2024. That seemed to be the goal. Try to win 7-8 games, maybe a little more. And, let's keep this thing rolling. Anything short of or anything better than a total disaster. They were all coming back at least next year. And now, even if this thing wasn't ultimately going to work out, barring 3-9, 4-8, they were all going to be here. The assistants, for the most part, maybe one exception you tweak around, for another year, and now they're not. So, that's potentially not anyway. So that's another component of this. He just let so many people down. And I don't really care about the legal side of it as much, in terms of formulating my opinion. It doesn't really matter. I mean, he could be exonerated or, convicted, not literally, but in the
Yeah.
hearing in October, and it's kind of like whatever. There's enough that we know that he did, that he's admitted to, and he's got to go. That's that.
Yeah, I was telling you, I've been getting hit up as you have. What's your thoughts? What's your thoughts? How do you explain this? And few emotions come to mind because I'm in lockstep with you. Me and you, I think, are good representatives of what the fan base believe about Tucker, and it's anger at the fact that he could be so stupid to do something like this because we saw the vision, we bought the vision, right? It's sadness that the board of trustees, who have a horrific track record at Michigan State, are going to. You kind of lucked into it last time, and with D'Antonio, but there's very clear signs that this board of trustees is Bobby Williams, C. John L. Smith, etc. Struggles with head coaching, and so there's sadness that, oh God, we're in this again. And it's uneasiness because, I think Michigan State for the longest time, and please correct me if you feel differently, for the longest time, it felt like Michigan State was a school where 6 wins was okay. 7 wins was great. We're going to be like Maryland, Indiana, Purdue, Rutgers, Northwestern, where we're going to have a team every once a decade that's going to make it to the Outback Bowl. We're gonna make it to the Belk Bowl, and everybody's going to rejoice, and that's what you have to look forward to. And I think D'Antonio started it. Tucker had the vision of you have to compete nationally. You have to go against the big boys for recruits. Whether you win or lose, you win some, you lose a ton, but it'll happen. Over time, it'll happen. You got to invest in the infrastructure. You got to build the program. And I have severe uneasiness at this point that will continue. And it wasn't so much Mel, because Mel, we talked about it last time, as you brought up, and you can read the receipts. Not the world's greatest X's and O's guys. Not the greatest game manager, but at least he had the vision that we share of where we want to see the school. And so a lot of emotions, a lot of anger and upsetness, sadness, and just horrible. Justin, give me the silver lining. Give me the clear blue skies up above. It's not Mark D'Antonio. I mean, God bless him. He's more than deserved a statue. He doesn't have to come back. It's not going to be him to lead it, but what is your take on where the future is early? Obviously, this is September still, so we don't know any coaches available or what have you, but your thoughts.
I mean, I still believe in the infrastructure of the program and, the buy-in for the program. It's not Alabama, LSU, it's not a major SEC school in terms of rabid fan bases, but, it's not Maryland, Indiana, or Rutgers either, in terms of revenue, in terms of just footprint. So the right coach can get it rolling again, and to a much higher level than, 6-6, 7-5, try to get to the Outback Bowl. The question is that Mel Tucker vision of competing for national championships a real possibility at this school? It's not going to come with him now, but was that a real thing that could happen? Or are you better off going more D'Antonio model now? D'Antonio got to the college football playoff. He had 3 teams in the top 5 in a row. So he wasn't that far off. It's not like he was just solid or middling around, but it's still, he only had one team that really felt like they could have won a national title. They weren't like a contender. D'Antonio, when he was hired, said, I want to win the Rose Bowl and win the Big Ten, get to the Rose Bowl. I don't think he even mentioned the national championship. I don't think that was ever mentioned. If it was a 20-1 ratio the other way. It was always win the Big Ten, go to the Rose Bowl. I don't think any coach hired now is going to say that with the playoff format. It's a different era, but it is curious to see what Michigan State goes for with the coach they hire, what the coach wants to do. do they try to become more kind of the D'Antonio mold, like recruit more regionally and develop guys and, you know, be more chip on the shoulder? Or do they try to get back in those 5-star living rooms? Tucker was mostly a bridesmaid in those recruiting battles. You know, there's a couple exceptions where, you know, we got a top 100 guy this year on our D line that looks pretty good, but you know, for the most part, he was losing that. And the silver lining is they had a lot of money in Mel Tucker. I suspect that they'll have to give him some of it in a settlement, but nowhere near what they were going to owe him. And the trajectory was not that great. Like I still had hope that it could work and turn around. I was far from giving up on the guy, but it's, you know, the recruiting was in the 50s. We went 5-7 last year. The arrow was downward. Doesn't mean it can't be spun back, but it was downward. And if you can get out of that contract when things are not going well, that may have been a blessing. Of course, no one wants it to happen under these circumstances, but if you're looking for the silver lining, okay, may have dodged a bullet and we can reset here.
I was listening into Valenti today at work, and Mike Valenti 97.1 with our friend Rico Beard, your friend too. And
a true talent. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. One of your close friends.
And mentor too. Yes.
Yes. And they were on today and Mike made a good point. A point I hadn't heard, and I'm going to press you to see if you know what he was talking about when he was alluding to issues in the off season besides the Taylor case popping up with Mel Tucker. Did you hear any of that? Did you see any of that? Because you are pretty close and tied in.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of stories. I assume
things
he and
that
I
will
have
come out over time, I'm sure.
I don't think all of it will. I think there'll definitely be more, especially if, you know, if Mel Tucker drags their ass to court, as he has, you know, 80 million reasons to do so at some point, you know, depositions can be a bitch. You know, a lot of stuff can come out that has borderline relevance to anything, but, you know, Michigan State is going to start bringing stuff up that they view as problematic and, you know, potentially contributing to the just cause nature of this stuff. And, you know, I heard, you know, Valenti say, hey, like the stuff that he's talking about is not illegal. And I'll, you know, confirm that there's nothing in there that's like, oh my God, it's you know, there's no like criminal behavior, but stuff that you would probably find unbecoming of someone in that position. And I'm not going to talk about it for the same reason he didn't. You know, Mel Tucker's feeling pretty litigious, and you know, that's that. But there's other stuff out there, non-illegal. It's legal behavior, but stuff that some doubt would be cast upon as
so basically non-ethical.
More, well, yeah, there's a few.
Yeah,
maybe more, maybe a little bit more
potentially see.
Something I would view as more immoral than unethical, which is a subtle but real difference. But yeah, I'd have to think about that. You know, that's
interesting.
Stuff unbecoming a leader for sure, but even stuff like that, you know, I can tell you that, you know, Valenti mentioned in passing, and I can expand a little bit on, you know, I don't know if you heard Valenti talk today about him becoming, what word did he use? Like kind of not inaccessible, but Tucker was more distant or like kind of checked out or something like that.
I can tell you that that's been the case with other media personalities in the college football realm as well. And
okay, so
they've felt the same thing.
Yeah, I mean, I can confirm that from, you know, personal experience, Ethan. And like, he used to be a religious viewer of my show, and like, you know, we, you know, text back and forth a little bit, and you know, I'm not going to pretend like we were best friends or anything because we weren't. But you know, we had a open line of communication and talked a few times, twice on the phone, and you know, he just like ghosted the last year. You know, and that is just odd, but I wasn't the only one he did that to. So I didn't take it personally. I heard that from like 10 other people. So that's where, you know, some of that comes from, you know, but even stuff that anybody could see. People forget, I think, because it was a few years ago, this guy was doing like Periscope, now Twitter lives, like answering Q&As from fans live and doing that kind of stuff. And not only doing it, but openly talking about the importance of doing it and why he wanted to do it and why it was so important to engage the fan base. And we love our fans. And Odell Bredham, when he only had like 4,000 followers, now he's since blown up much bigger. He's answering a question from Odell Bredham Jr. in like a Twitter live. Like, all of that went away. And he was very quiet in the wake of the shooting. I and most people gave him the benefit of the doubt, maybe just mourning differently, but wouldn't even retweet a GoFundMe thing that was going around at any point for any of the multiple ones that were out there. Just stuff he would have done that first year, second year, absolutely without question. He would be like calling people like me or DMing people like Bredham saying like, hey, how can I help? Not only was he not doing that, he was just like inaccessible, unreachable. And that was something a lot of people felt. And really, we didn't deserve that because, hey, you're the one that went 5-7. We still got your back, man. Like, you can't act like hot shit now. Like, you went 5-7. It was weird. He acted like he had a great year. I don't know why, but that's what happened.
And you brought up something too with the shooting. It's really demoralizing. Yet again, Michigan State, our alma mater, has another black guy, and it's just, man, it's so tiresome. It is so tiresome. And when you bring up Paula Levine in a deposition, it's like, oh God, you're calling the dogs. You are calling the dogs. And I don't have a great thing to say about that person, but again, how do you cope with it? How for the Spartan fans listening, what's your best advice? Because I know personally, I just got to eat it. I got to eat it. It is what it is.
Oh, I mean, the worst days are ahead for me. Wait till they find some of my receipts. I mean, I was the guy's biggest supporter, There's 1,000 clips of me out there. So yeah, my worst days are ahead actually in terms of the receipt stuff. And they're already dunking on me about the suspension tweet, the freezing cold takes account retweeted me. I argued that's not a bad take, man. At the time, I just said a fact that none of these Michigan State coaches were suspended. Now, since one of them has been suspended, but it's not a bad take. I just said the stat and it was accurate at the time I said it. So I'll push back on that one. But yeah, they're already coming for me. It's fine. It's if you don't have strong opinions, then, you're not going to have to ever worry about this stuff. If you have strong opinions and you vocalize them, you're going to be out there. My advice is rally around the Michigan State flag, rally around these kids. You care about this school, you care about Spartans and Spartan Nation and the health of the football program, the health of the school, whether you went there or not. Get behind the kids that are there, the staff that's there that didn't do anything wrong, that's been busting their ass trying to make this a good season, a special rebound season. Get behind them. They got a big game on Saturday, right? No one thinks they can win, right? So get behind them and support the Spartans that have done it the right way. And Michigan State will be back. Nobody has more experience bouncing back from nonsense than Spartans. Unfortunately, the silver lining to that is we're pretty good at bouncing back. We wish we didn't have to so many times, but we're used to it. And get behind that flag, get behind the kids on the field and the coaching staff still in place there.
You brought up the big game. Let's go to the big game. We debated this in the preseason extensively. This is a huge game in terms of what the season outcome will be. It will be a trendsetter. We both agree on that. For you, where do you stand coming into this? We've seen 2 games from Washington, Boise State, and a wretched Tulsa team. And for Michigan State, Central, and the Spiders of Richmond. What are your thoughts on the 2 games and the teams leading into it?
I mean, you kind of have to throw everything out, right? This is such a weird, extenuating circumstance that's been dropped in our lap. It's such like a, I saw the line was 16. At one point it was like 8 or 9.
It opened at 14 and then it's been bet up to 16. I've seen 16 and a half in some books.
I thought it opened, not opened at 9, but I thought like the look ahead line, it was 9 like 10 days ago or something. I could be making that up, but I know it went up and it's up to, I saw 16 and that's what I tweeted out. Yeah. But this is such a tough, like, how is any of this going to go? I think in the last 6 hours, they've probably determined Mark D'Antonio's exact precise role in this. But as of this morning, it still wasn't exactly sure. They said he's definitely going to be wearing a headset. So, like, is D'Antonio going to be, kind of 50-50 with Barnett on like whether to go for it? It seems like they're going with Barnett, but D'Antonio has a headset, but he's not one of the coordinators. Why does he have a headset? Like, there's we don't even know really the role here of the greatest coach in school history who's back with a headset. We don't even know what he's doing. So it's tough to say. Washington, by all accounts, seems to be a better team. That offense is terrifying with Penix, who I heard recently celebrated his 29th birthday. So happy birthday to him. I don't like, why do we feel like we've been playing this guy since I was there? It's like, come on, go.
D'Antonio in his last season played Penix at Indiana.
It's crazy. But here's what I'll say. This feels like a great opportunity. You are up to 16 as a dog in the point spread. Nobody thinks you can do it. You're getting like 3-team parlay odds in a money line scenario. Everyone's rolling their eyes at the possibility of Michigan State winning. And I'll go back to what I said. It is still a West Coast team coming east for a night game. I think that stadium is going to be no less hopping than it would have been had none of this happened. And you can argue it would be even more galvanized and loud. I think it's going to be a weird scene. If I were them, I would paint over all that deep water shit as fast as possible. But I'm sure they'll probably still be there on Saturday. But I would want,
quick, Justin.
If they need help, I'll go volunteer with the paint jar and I'll be up there on the little ladder painting over it. Because honestly, like a lot of that stuff never really. It's a square pegging around a hole. Like, even I try to get behind it. Now the woodshed was different because that predates Tucker, and just he kind of like brought it back into the public consciousness. But like the deep water stuff, was never really us. I'm fine even with the chop and stuff. That's a good life mantra. The deep water thing was always kind of it didn't land right. Get rid of some of that stuff. It's going to be a weird scene down there. But, Washington's better, and they're coming in, and they've looked really impressive this year, and their biggest strength has been Michigan State's biggest weakness for 3 years. And, exploiting that secondary is definitely something they'll be trying to do. I also think this is an underrated Michigan State team. I've said that from the beginning. And I know from my conversations in the last 48 hours, that room, especially when D'Antonio was announced, is galvanized, fired up, ready to go. And, that's something I wouldn't want to be involved with betting against them. If you don't think State's going to win, fine, stay out of it. But that team has a lot of talent in that home locker room on Saturday, and they're fired up. And if Washington comes in and plays their A game, they probably win. But they better do that because Michigan State will be ready for Saturday. And it's impossible to make a prediction at this point. I don't think this is going to be some blowout, though. That's the one thing I'll say. I think State will be ready to fight.
I think from my perspective, and I'll have more picks on this game later this week, but I was looking at Washington first quarter for the sheer fact that Michigan State has looked, and I get that they are playing vanilla to some extent. It seems like Noah Kim needs like 2 or 3 drives to warm up. After 2 or 3 drives, it's lights out. In both games. Central Michigan, I gave them a pass. Richmond,
he better be ready to go right away because
exactly.
If we're not doing anything until the 5th drive, that might be like 14-17 nothing, something like that.
Yes, and you can't have that. And I thought Justin Thind did a great job a few weeks ago prefacing what needs to happen in that time of possession. The run game has to be on point. You have to have Nathan Carter running long drives, converting third downs, keeping their offense off the field, because it really is a problem. I don't know when they go spread 4 wide, 5 wide. I don't know that Michigan State will necessarily, from what I've seen, have an answer. But like you've said, this team is galvanized. This is a lot of D'Antonio's guys here. So, hopefully on the big stage, bright lights, the team shows up.
Yeah, he's, even the non-D'Antonio guys were excited from what I was told because he's held in such high esteem. And, the guys there, like, they love Darian Harris. And we've talked about that 100 times and how much I love him and what a great guy he is and what a great leader he is. But like, Darian worships D'Antonio. All these guys like worship or at least deeply respect Darian. So just even like the secondhand pass through of like, they have so much love and respect for Darian Harris in that room. And this is like Darian's, guy. This is Darian's, kind of god in the Michigan State football world. And he's a reverential figure there, whether or not you played for him or recruited by him. And, the guys swear by him. And, this is a perfect situation. These people that are like coming out saying, oh, remember how bad it was at the end? It's like, you're talking about two completely different scenarios. I'm not asking him to go recruit. I'm not asking him to, hey man, build it out for 4 years. What's your plan? I need him to show up here for a couple months and be an adult and be just a coach. He's just a football coach, and he's going to be helping organize their systems and, make sure things run smoothly. And you know what, D'Antonio, he could probably have done that for 15 more years before he retired. It's all the other stuff that just drains you and having to be answerable to all the media and all that stuff. He's just putting on a headset and coaching football and getting some details lined up. And in that situation, D'Antonio is one of the best coaches in the country. Just football coach. He is one of the best coaches breathing air. And that's what he's going to be doing. He's just going to be helping coach some football. That's a huge asset. You don't need him for that long. Who cares about his stamina? He's going to burn out. He's not going to burn out in what, 10 games? Not even. I mean, it's like, depending on how long, 10 games plus, it's fine. Like, he'll be fine. And this was a home run. That's why I put up the D'Antonio bat signal. I was hoping they would reach out to him, and they did. And I don't get the pushback on it. It's insane. Like, if we were talking about hiring him for 6 years or something, yeah, but this is a completely different situation, which he's perfect for.
A lot of folks have, and this will be the last question, a lot of folks have looked at Courtney Hawkins as being a potential guy to step up and fill that role. What's your thoughts on Courtney Hawkins possibly being the lead candidate from the staff as is?
Are you talking about like 5-year deal, big picture?
Yes.
I like Hawk. He's a great Spartan. The receiving core swears by him. I think he knows his shit. That's tough. I mean, that is a position coach that hasn't even been doing that long. Like, he was coaching high school before this? I mean, I just think that's too soon. I hope we keep him around. I hope the new staff keeps him around. I just think that's too soon. It's not an indictment of him. It's just, we just had Mel, who had 1 year experience as a head coach. Do we want a guy to go from a guy with 1 year to no years and like only a very little experience, even as a position coach? It's not an anti-Hawk thing. I just think he doesn't check the right boxes in terms of resume. And, maybe someday, but if he wants to be a head coach at this level, go to Akron first or Miami of Ohio or, Bowling Green or something and do it that way. I just don't think he's ready for that. And if he is, it would be a complete shot in the dark that he is. It'd just be a leap of faith. We don't have any evidence of that. And I don't want to do that again. I want a guy that's, built a program and won somewhere. So that's just my opinion.
Who's coaching Grand Valley State? Next episode of Spiro Avenue. Speaking of, it's time to go for you to go pack some more hoodies and etc. Where can the good people find you, and when's the next Spiro Avenue show?
Well, we're every Thursday at 9. So we're shifting our guests around a little bit, so TBD on that. But Thursday at 9 for sure. That's every week. And maybe some more off the curb material, but anywhere you can find anything, man. Spotify, YouTube, Apple, and all that stuff. We're everywhere, whether you like it or not. So you can find us. Just search Spiro Avenue. We'll pop up.
Wonderful show. Please check it out, Justin. Always a mensch for coming through clutch. We'll be back talking UTSA Army in about 24 hours. So get ready for that. Until then, take care, brush your hair, and we will talk to you after a while.